A broadcast.
Hey,
It's Taylor,
Marissa.
and I specifically made a sticky note for this week's podcast because we have been having so many problems with our apartment that I don't want to live here anymore. And I told Marissa, I was like, you're not gonna believe what's happening, but I have to wait.
You gotta save it.
I have to wait.
So the reactions are live here on the broadcast.
Live reactions here on the you don't get much
Live
better
reactions.
content than this shit. So some of the stuff Marissa has heard before, just our general problems, but I need to refresh just so our audience understands how ridiculous the recent
pain
things
that
are.
she's going through.
Yeah. So basically I live in an apartment. I have 2 roommates. And our initial problem started with the application process. We initially were going to live somewhere else, and the woman pulled out of that at the last second. So we had 3 weeks to find somewhere to live. We all started school. I lived 8 hours away. I needed a place to go. We found this apartment. We're like, okay, perfect. The rent is normal. Whatever. We're each, it's within all of our budgets or whatever, and that's fine. And then the application process begins. And this woman that we're dealing with is just a problem from the start. She keeps, quote, forgetting to send us different things of paperwork. We filled out the whole thing, and she told us, that, and then she's like, okay, good. And then she's like, actually, I need this from you guys before I can even look at your application. We're like, okay, so you send it, give it to her. Actually, I also need this before I can even look at your application. We're like, can you just why would you not ask us for all that from the beginning, first of all, which is stupid. It's stupid.
And I would also like to add that Taylor was in a big time crunch to start school. She didn't have time to
we literally
look
had
at a bunch of other places.
I want to say 3 weeks or something, 3 weeks to
it was do or die pretty much. So they just wanted to get their
and I can't it's ridiculous. And then okay, so we work it out. We live here. That's fine. Obviously we got the place. We're in here right now. I'm recording from my bedroom in said apartment as we speak. And then we have a problem with our mail key. And so I don't know if any of y'all live in apartment complexes or whatever, but the way it works is your mailboxes are not in front of your place. It's for us, we walk down and across the street, and that's where everybody's mailboxes are. And so everybody's got a key for their mailbox. That's just the way that it works. And we go to check our mail. Our mail key doesn't work. We're like, okay, well, that's mildly annoying, but whatever. We go to the woman. We're like, hey, our mail key doesn't work. Actually, let me say, before we went to the woman, we realized that our mail key opens the mailbox of our next door neighbors. And so we go to the neighbors and we're like, oh, we have your mail key. Do you have ours? Let's just switch. And they're like, no, we never got a mail key. We're like, what? They're like, and my roommate Jamie was like, oh, so where's your key? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. Are you serious? Is this real? So after a back and forth of us trying to ask them for their stupid mail key, because we know it's ours, because we have theirs. That's the way that it works, And so we go to the landlady, and we're like, okay, so we have their mail key, and they, it doesn't work for us. They claim that they never got one, or they don't know where it is, whatever. And the landlady goes, well, according to their paperwork, they did get one. So either, there's no communication between them, or they're lying to you.
Isn't it $50 to replace the key or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. And also let it be known that they moved in around the same time that we did. They were moving in kind of within that same week. So I guess they just hadn't checked their mail yet or something, didn't realize that it was the wrong key. So we're like, okay. And she's like, yeah, you need to get the key from them. And they're like, okay, well, we've tried that a lot of times and they won't give us the key because they allegedly don't know where it is, never got one, whatever. And, our landlady Janelle was like, okay, well, I'll call them, whatever. And we're like, okay, this is fine. So we wait a couple more days, nothing. Meanwhile, while this is happening, on campus, you need to have a pass to park there. And so before the semester, you buy a parking pass for the whole semester. and it's much cheaper than paying for parking every day. And so it gets mailed to you. And so because of the fact that we can't get our mail, like, we don't have access to our parking pass that we already paid for. So we have to pay, it's like $5 a day to park. And the parking pass for the whole semester is like $120 or something. So you can see that it's obviously way cheaper. And so because of this, like, our neighbors, we now have to pay for parking every day, like, you know, and as, like, the longer this goes on, the more and more money we're spending on parking. Like, I can't afford to spend that much on parking when it could easily be fixed if they just walk down to their mailbox and open it. And so that's a whole thing. And then finally, somehow, I don't even remember the, like, course of events that we eventually got the mail key. Whatever, that's fine. And then the next thing that's a problem, which is resolved now. This is a long list, by the way. This could be a whole podcast on its own, okay? The next thing is that the way that it works is with our building, there's like a gate that you go to get in. I don't really know how to describe it, but you have to go through a gate to get into our building. My gate key didn't work. It never worked. Like, my roommate claims that he got it to work once, but it was because the gate wasn't closed all the way. Like, and so it's just stupid. My gate key didn't work. I went to the landlady multiple times. I was like, my gate key doesn't work. And she would go, it's not the key, it's the locks. You just have to jimmy it a little bit. It's, it's these locks. I was like, okay, fine. So I go back. I'm like, okay, I had to wait every single day when I come back from class. I'd have to wait for somebody to come and open the gate for me because I couldn't get in. My key for our apartment worked just fine, but the key for the gate never worked. And so I went back again. I was like, no, my gate key does not work. She's like, no, it's not the key, it's the locks. It's not the key, it's the locks. You just have to jimmy it a little bit. I hate that phrase now because of her. You just have to jimmy it a little bit. I was like, okay, fine, like, whatever. I guess I'll go back and jimmy the lock. Fuck you, okay? And then one day, finally, I had enough. I was like, I had been standing outside the gate for actually 15 minutes. And it would not open. I finally went to her and I was like, Janelle, please, can I just have another key? Mine doesn't work. And she was like, it's not the key, it's the locks, it's the locks, it's the locks. And the other woman that was working there was like, can you just give her another key, like, so she'll stop? Because, like, obviously for her it doesn't work. I was like, my roommate has tried it, it hasn't worked. Like, my dad only got it to work once, probably because the gate was not closed all the way. I was like, literally my key does not work. I was like, what if I had been waiting for 15 minutes in the middle of the night and there was nobody there and you guys aren't here for me because they're closed on weekends and they close at 6 every day. So I was like, what if, I couldn't come here and, like, ask somebody to let me in? You know what I mean? Like, what if I was in the middle of the night and I needed to get inside? Like, what am I going to do? This is not, an area I want to be a woman hanging outside by myself at night. Okay. Like, she was like, okay, fine, you can have another key, but the key is not the problem. It's the locks, blah, blah, blah. So she finally, so reluctantly, gives me another key, and I walk back. I'm like, oh, thank God. I walk back. Oh, guess what? The key opens the gate immediately. It works perfectly. First time. Because guess what? You don't need to jimmy it a little bit. My fucking key didn't work. It was so stupid. I'm also pausing because I'm currently drinking Coke out of a coffee mug. I knew this was going to be a long-winded thing, so I needed to grab myself a beverage. Okay. And so that, that's fine. Those are key issues, whatever, resolved now. I can get in the gate. I'm not going to, get murdered in the middle of the night or whatever, because I can actually get in the gate. So, meanwhile, while all of this shit is happening, because there's 2 bathrooms in our apartment. There's, like, a, quote, master bedroom, which has a bathroom, which our roommate Eric is in, and then my roommate Jamie and I share the other bathroom. And our shower would not drain. Like, it would eventually, but there would just, like, a puddle of, like, filth and water would, like, build up, and it was so disgusting, and, like, there was all this, like, hair and stuff in the drain that was not from us. We'd only been living there, like, 2 weeks. It was not our hair. Like, I have really long hair, okay, but I make sure to, like, be a decent human being about it. Like, I'm not going to leave my hair everywhere. I'm not a fucking animal, and our shower would not drain. And so we were just like, okay, fuck it. They're not going to help us. We just bought Drano, fixed the problem, whatever. And then, so that's fine. We fixed it, right? And so then our sink, in our kitchen sink does this thing where when you turn on the, like, dishwasher, like, black liquid comes out of the sink. And it's really gross. And it looks like that like episode of Supernatural where there's like a demon in the sink. And it's nasty and it's gross. And so we call them and we're like, hey, our garbage disposal smells like ass. And every time we use it and every time we use a dishwasher, like black liquid comes out of the sink. And we know it doesn't have anything to do with us because like we had not even used the garbage disposal really at this point. Like, you know, so we know it had nothing to do with us. You know, it was nothing that we put in there. And so they come and the dude's like looking at it. And of course it doesn't do it when the dude is there. Because he's like turning it on and nothing's happening. It doesn't smell gross, whatever. And so like, I don't know what the problem is. We're like, okay, great, thanks. And so then fast forward to this weekend, fast forward to Friday night. Okay. We have been dealing with this issue. We're like, okay, whatever. Like we use our dishwasher as a drying rack now because we can't turn it on without the sink becoming disgusting. So fast forward to this weekend. Friday night, we have a bunch of people over for like a Halloween party. You know, we were like, oh yeah, we'll have our friends over. It'll be fun. You know, people wearing costumes, whatever. Like, you know, we played like spoons until like 1 a.m., you know, and anyway.
What is spoons?
It's that card game where I'll teach you. It's really fun because it's really aggressive. Where it's like, it's the one where you like, there's spoons in a circle, and if there's 5 people, there's like 4 spoons, and you everybody has 4 cards, and you like pass the cards around, and you try to get 4 of a kind. And if somebody gets 4, they grab a spoon, and if you see somebody grabbing one, you want to grab, and the person that doesn't get one is out.
Oh. You guys should play Slamwich too. That's an aggressive game.
I love Slamwich. Yeah, so we're having this party, and everybody's having a fun time. And then all of a sudden, somebody's like, oh, it smells really weird. Our fucking garbage disposal and sink, out of nowhere, is just like this black, like, I have a picture, and I'm not going to post it because I don't want anybody to throw up, okay? It's so gross. And so this is Friday night, by the way. This is at like maybe 9 or something that this is happening. So naturally the offices are closed because they're closed on the weekends and they close at 6. So we're like, okay, great. We're like, well, how the fuck do we fix this? And so we're like trying all these things, trying to deal with it, and it's just making it worse. It's this like black, it literally looks like our sink is full of tar because since then it has not gone down.
Oh no.
So we can't use our kitchen sink. And then we're like, okay, like, and then so when we first moved in, they gave us a sheet of phone numbers. They're like, okay, this is like an emergency cell phone number if you're having a problem and you need to contact us when the offices are closed. We call the number and it goes, this number is not in use.
Oh my god.
We're like, you gave us a phone number that's not real? The emergency phone number is not real? Like, what? I woke up one morning and all I heard from was like, I was like, you know, doing something in the bathroom or whatever, and all I heard from the hallway was, no. Oh, fuck no. Jamie had been calling the number, and it was not a real number. And so now we have God knows what living in our sink, okay? Like, I don't know what is going on. If it's some sort of creepy demon, I don't know. I'd fucking call a plumber or a priest. I don't care. Whatever will fix it, okay? Like, and so it's nasty. We can't use our kitchen sink, which means that we basically have no water for cooking because we have a water filter on our kitchen sink because the water here is kind of gross. And so we can't cook anything that involves water because we can't use the kitchen sink. And also there are bugs in our shower again.
Roaches, right?
Termites. And they crawl out of the drain. They crawl out of the drain.
I know. Mine are not that bad, but I have some gross bugs coming out of my drain too. And it's only like in the winter, so I guess whatever's going on.
I just talked for like 15 minutes about our apartment problems. I am sorry, audience, but holy shit, I am so tired of it.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up. Oh my god, just sue. Your roommate loves suing people.
Oh my god,
right?
he does. Don't encourage him. My roommate is really into suing. He every time he's like, oh, we could sue them. We'll win.
Well, he's not wrong.
Probably not.
But, you know, they really, really love taking advantage of young people. You know, if you were, like, super adult with your super successful career, they'd have to do something about it because then you would be like, okay, I can sue, you know, because now, like, you can't really pay for anyone to help you.
Frankly,
you know?
if this continues, I mean, how hard is it to sue somebody? Like,
well, you need to, like, You're the lawyer, you have to pay them like per hour, or they'll just, if they know they're gonna win, then they'll just tell you like, okay,
isn't there some lawyer things where you don't have to pay them unless you win?
I'm sure there are.
I see commercials for that all the time. Because here's the thing. School is expensive.
Can't lie, right?
School is expensive, and I don't have a job. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking that if this continues and we can't use our sink, we can't eat, Jamie and I can hardly shower. And Eric's shower, when he first turns it on, it smells like ass because there's something in the water here. Like, I'm kind of thinking that maybe that dude is onto something. Okay.
Anyway, I love suing too. I don't actively do it, but Taylor. Okay, so I just forgot to tell Taylor, this doesn't really matter. So a while ago, some woman hit the back of my car. I was standing still, or not standing. I was, waiting to leave the parking lot, not moving. Dodge Ram hits me. Months and months go by of like,
you have a small car too. For perspective, that's like a lot of damage from like a big truck to your tiny car.
Yeah, and like my car is bright green. Like if you don't see me, you have some kind of issue. You're not paying attention, obviously. So I finally, I thought, wow, this is months and months ago, over the summer. So I was like, like what finally happened? And of course, my insurance went under my grandma because I'm a child. I can't afford insurance, and whatever, judge me if you will. But like, grandma, like what finally happened? And so like the people couldn't figure it out. They sent it to like some other people to figure it out, and they claimed it was a 50-50 thing because they couldn't figure out whose fault it could be. And so now I still don't know if my insurance is going to go up or not, even though I didn't do anything. I'm so tempted to call that lady and just be like, I hope you're happy now. My insurance is going to go up.
Didn't that woman also give you like a fake name and a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, well, at first she was like, she knew she messed up because she said, I'm so sorry, like, let's not go through insurance, just, get an estimate on your car and I'll pay you out of pocket. And so I should have just, always take out your phone, lesson learned, take out your phone and start recording what they're saying. But I was just kind of shocked. I didn't think about it, but now I will. And then I called the insurance and I said, I don't know what to do, if I should go through insurance or not. I felt really bad about it. And, and they said, and they're like, insurance told me, like, she already called us and told us it was your fault. And I was like, what? I have been feeling emotional turmoil of not knowing what to do because I didn't want her insurance to go up. And I still have her phone number. I'm so tempted to call her and just be like,
I wouldn't, just because, like, she'll say that you were, quote, harassing her. I wouldn't. Because, I would say that, like, she gave you a fake name. Like, that's not legal.
Yeah, and I told them,
so
I'm like, I'm a relatively small person. I'm 5'3", and she's roughly my height or shorter in this huge Dodge Ram. I got a small car, so I could see everything going on around me. Like, Taylor, your car is big, but it's not, like, tall.
No, it's really low, yeah.
So her car is, Dodge Ram, tall, big, and in the store, she cut me in line because she was in such a hurry going somewhere, and...
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
So if my insurance doesn't go up, it's not going to bug me as much. But if it goes up, I'm going to be really annoyed that the world works that way. But life isn't fair. I know.
I think even if it's not your fault, sometimes that shit goes up anyway, just because insurance companies are like sharks. But
my grandparents being so whatever, like they have full coverage. Like they want to pay. They don't want to pay as much as possible, but like they want to be fully covered because they're, old people and they want every.
No, absolutely, yeah. Then that makes sense. Like there's a good amount of insurance on my car, like, and I mean part of it too is my car is technically a salvage vehicle. Like at one point it was totaled. For those of you who are not familiar with salvage title cars, it means that at one point it was declared totaled, but it was restored to be drivable again, and so that's why I own a Firebird and I'm not a rich person. But, and I love that car. That car is, that car is really nice. The only thing that's shitty about it is the paint job at this point, and it's like, you would never know looking at that car that it was at one point totaled, So we hypothesized that it was something with the motor, because the motor that's in it right now was not stock for that car. And so we hypothesized that that's why. And so, like, the body is in really good shape and everything. And so, but the thing about it is that to an insurance company, that car ain't worth shit because it's a salvage title, and that's like true for most salvage title stuff. Like my dad drives a Range Rover that's also a salvage title because it was total. Well, because that one though is because my dad is the one that totaled it and didn't want to get rid of it. Because it's you know, it's pretty badass. It's like a 95 Range Rover. So it's actually back when Range Rovers were cool and not like pretentious like rich housewife cars. But and you know, and it's funny though, and I just get lucky in the sense that because my car is technically like a classic car, it makes it that I can, if somebody were to hit me or damage my car, the insurance would have to give me something because I'm restoring a classic. So even though it's technically a salvage title, because with restoring a classic, it's considered a piece of history. If somebody hits my car, sucks for them, okay? Because, I mean, they could probably pay for my new paint job, okay? Like,
Oi.
I know, it's a mess. Car insurance is a mess.
If you didn't figure out that Chandler and I really love to complain,
that's
some bad news for you.
This is the complain about shit podcast. It's really what it. Welcome to the broadcast. Here's what I'm angry about this week.
Yeah, welcome to the broadcast.
I think that was the first thing I ever said on this podcast was that, like, hey, welcome to the broadcast. I'm really angry.
Yeah, I think so too.
No, but I mean, here's the thing though, is like, I feel like complaining about things can be entertaining. Like, we are both avid watchers of the Rooster Teeth podcast, and that's a complain about shit podcast too.
As people that love to complain, we love hearing other people like to complain. So if you're very optimistic, this ain't for you, but that's okay.
Right?
I'm sure there's some optimistic. Well, just look up like meditation podcast. I'm sure some hippie thing would come up. Not that meditation's cool. That's for you, great. It was just a joke. But
isn't there like a thing where some religious people think that meditation is like a Satanist thing? Is that...
they think like something when you're meditating and you're at bliss that like Satan can come in during that time and
sign me up.
Take you. I know, yeah.
If I like sold my soul to a demon, would I be doing better in life?
Yeah, if that was an option, I probably would really be considering it.
Oh, I mean, here's the thing too, is like, I don't know what I would like give a demon, like, because here's the thing, like, the common thing is like, oh, you know, whatever, and you'll die in like 5 years, and that's like, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, I would want something better. Like,
I didn't realize that. 5 years.
Like, if I was going to sell my soul, like, I would want to give something that was, like, you know.
Oh, you know what I would do? Here's my deal. I would give them my firstborn child. But here's the thing, is I would just be an egg donor or, like, a surrogate. And so, like, the kid I would promise the other parents they would intercept. Kid. And I would just be like, I'd get like, 20 whatever grand they give you when you're having a baby. And I'd be like, oh no, I totally forgot I made this deal. Whoops, you already paid my medical bills. Bye. And then I would be unharmed. And then that's what I would do.
Or would it be, because here's the thing. What if you were an egg donor? Is your firstborn child, does that mean it's like the first one you give birth to, or the first child that's born that's from you? Because what if I
assume it would be my DNA, but yeah, I could just be the surrogate
your firstborn, too. Some other woman somewhere is having your baby because you're an egg donor. It's now their problem.
Yeah, sign me the fuck up, okay? You always say, like, I would do that. But that's what I would do to get around that. I would just be like, yeah, you can have my first
Here's what I would do. Here's what I would do. I would say, because I don't know if I really want kids anyway. I don't know what the state of my life is going to be, if I'm going to be able to take care of a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, I'm going to probably be an artist, you know what I mean? If I can't afford to support a kid, I'm not going to have a kid, Like, I'm not hell-bent on having kids, Like, one day that would be cool, but it's not the end of the world for me if I don't have a kid,
it's not number one priority in our life.
I would tell the demon, I would give them my ability to have kids. So then later on in life, if I really wanted a child, I could do a surrogacy thing because I didn't give up the ability for someone else to have my baby. I just can't have my baby.
What kind of people are we? It's how I would
people that are really not doing well in life and need to fix it, okay?
Hey, Satan, if you're listening to this podcast, you can come be a guest.
At Satan, hit me up.
Free promotion.
Because here's the thing, like, I like have a fear of like being pregnant and giving birth anyway, because that's not something I want to deal with. Yeah. Like, I will not have a kid just to avoid that. Like, that sucks. Okay, I'm not doing it. People don't like understand how much it sucks. Like, this is about to be like the, girl talk shit podcast, but like my period is horrible, okay? I cannot even imagine what my body would do if I was actually pregnant. Shit, dude, I'd fucking die. I would die.
And I've had 3 kidney stones, and they say, like, oh, it's comparable to giving birth.
Wait, you've had 3? I thought it was only 2.
I don't know. I think there's a 4th one in there, but I can't keep track. But anyway, that's when you know you have a problem. I cannot keep track of how many kidney stones I've had. But, and they say, like, it's comparable to giving birth, and I thought that was, like, a fake thing, like, haha, until, like, because your body contracts, because it's in so much pain, it contracts and stops, contracts and stops, contracts and stops. And I was like, wow, if this is like a taste of birth, yeah, forget it. Well, no. So I'm having a C-section, basically, maybe if I have to deal with that.
Somebody did like a study. I've read this multiple times, that I guess in terms of like the most painful thing that a human being can experience, giving birth is number 2. Being burned alive is number 1. And giving birth is number 2. And dudes want to be like, oh, but you'll never understand how it feels to be kicked in the balls. It's like, I understand that that's like a painful thing, okay? And I would never do that to you because I'm not an animal. You know what I mean? But literally,
well, after they say that,
having a child is the second most painful thing a human being can experience.
I forget. The equivalent to a man would be what? Squeezing like a walnut out of their penis or something similar? Some like kind of large nut?
Did you see, you ever watch those BuzzFeed videos? Do you ever watch the Try Guys videos? You ever seen those?
I don't think so.
You should. They're funny. And the one dude, Eugene, is super hot. Shout out to Jamie for showing me that. But, yeah. I just was thinking about the fact that I said shout out because it was pointed out to me that I say a lot. You know who you are for pointing that out, by the way. So thanks a lot, asshole. I'm not going to name names because I ain't giving you the satisfaction, but you know who you are. But anyway, on this Try Guys video, they did a thing where the dudes, it's 4 dudes, and they did a thing where they were hooked up to like these electrode things, and it would simulate the amount of pain you go through when giving birth. Yeah, did you see that video? And so
I didn't realize
a lot of them tapped out before it got even to the full amount of pain because they couldn't take it.
Not to mention, like, worst case scenario, your 2 holes can rip into one big hole.
See, and I'm not about that. Do they put stitches there? Like, I don't.
They must have to, right? You know, and you're like pooping everywhere, and like no one's gonna be like, oh, by the way, like you just pooped yourself, you know, like. No, I think that might ruin the romance between me and my baby daddy.
My baby daddy. Speaking of the phrase baby daddy, Marissa and I have been watching so much Jerry Springer lately. I feel like that was a good segue.
I think it was. That was the best segue I think we've ever had on this podcast.
Thanks, man.
And we made Jerry Bingo. And it's beautiful. I think we might have talked about that
we talked about Jerry Bingo last time. But Marissa and I do this thing that we call Jerry dates because we live far apart.
Romantic.
And we watch trash television together. And so we do this thing where we'll start an episode at the same time, and then so we can like talk about it. Some of the shit I have seen. Oh my god! Like what was one that we watched recently? Was it the one about the chick having sex with? I watched one where a chick had sex with her dad.
Oh no, I was thinking of the twin sister one, and then she had her boyfriend come out, and she's like, I'm sleeping with someone, and Jerry's like, okay, the other one please come out, and then her twin sister came out, and the guy lost his shit.
The thing about it too is her original confession was like, I've been doing porn videos, like da-da, and the husband was like, excuse me, what? And Jerry was like, here's one of her co-stars, and it was like, oh yeah, the boyfriend was like, what?
And they were both super hot, you know, but I was like, oh my god, and their thing was, oh, it feels like I'm just having sex with myself.
Yeah, that whole thing is like a nightmare. I watched one recently, the one I was telling you about with the girl. She was like in a sexual relationship with her dad. It was like, it was so weird. And the thing is like,
you think you got daddy issues?
Oh my god, right?
Anyone listening?
And they like, because the thing is she like didn't grow up with her dad. She like, you know, it was her mom and whoever her mom was married to, and she like tried to find her dad, and she like found him on Facebook, and he left like a comment on her picture. It was like something weird, and they met, and then they were like having sex. It was really weird, and it was like an ongoing thing. And Jerry was like, so are you guys gonna stop anytime soon? They're like, no. Was that Jerry or Steve Wilkos now? I don't remember.
They're all blending together.
I can't remember now, because I've been watching a lot of Steve Wilkos lately.
That sounds like a Steve show, because Jerry's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Jerry or Steve. Yeah, I don't know.
And because Taylor and I obviously are doing really well in life, as we've pointed out. But
Shout out to
we were looking up Jerry Springer Wikipedia. And Jerry went to so much college. He went to, I forget, some nice college, and he went to, like, grad school, and, like, after, like, he went to college for a long time. I think he was basically a lawyer or something. He became a politician, became, like, a mayor or governor or something, and then basically he wrote a prostitute a personal check that bounced. And so that went downhill. But when he started his show in, I think, 92... Why wouldn't this... If this was Jeopardy questions, I would go on Jeopardy right now, okay?
Oh my god, right? But yeah, it's like his show started out as being, like, normal.
As politics. Super boring politics. And then, like, it was a small network, and then some big network bought it, and then slowly wanted to change the ratings. And I'm not sure... We're not sure when they added the poll and Jerry being...
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how it went from politics to stripper polls. Like, how is that a thing?
Don't know, yeah. Now that I know Jerry's experience, I want him to run for something now.
I mean, here's the thing, right? He could deal with anything, right? Like, if you can deal with that shit, you could deal with anything.
Yeah, and it's fun watching because we'll do vintage Jerry, where he still tries to help them a little bit and, like, figure out what's going on and talk to them. And, this season he's just like, whatever.
He just, like, sits back and watches the chaos. Yeah, like, Maury tries a little harder to help. Jerry is just, like, so done. Nothing phases him anymore. Maury, like, tries harder to help. Steve Wilkos seems like a good guy. Like, he tries so hard to help. Yeah, and he was director of security
on Jerry, and then he got his own show. And I guess he was a cop or something, right?
I think he was a cop, or he might have been, like, an ex-Marine, too. I don't remember, but I know he was at one point a cop. He's, like, if you've ever watched Jerry Springer, he's, like, the big white bald dude that's, like, the security guy. But yeah, the Steve Wilkos show gets like really serious too. Like, sometimes those are like really intense.
There's the only one we haven't really watched. It's called I finally figured out, the Bill Cunningham Show, and I hate that one because he's like the whitest guy. I know these are all like white guys, obviously, but like he's the whitest guy, and of course he has ethnic people come on, and he like sits down next to them and like tries to talk to them and like reason with them. And it just comes off so bad. I know all these shows are terrible, but this one in particular, I'm like, oh, like you think you're better than all these people, which maybe you are, but
yeah, it's like,
and these shows are an interesting phenomenon. I feel like because anyone you talk to, they're gonna be like, oh no, I don't watch that. That's blah blah blah. But it's still on the air, and like Taylor and I watch it. Like we don't care. We'll admit we love trash.
Yeah, we talk about My Strange Addictions all the time. Like, obviously, I watch a lot of really good TV. You know what I mean? Like, I really like The Blacklist. I like a lot of shows that are really good, but sometimes I need to watch something fucking stupid.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
Speaking of stupid, I think this is a good segue to our Craigslist this week.
True. You go on Okay.
I got mine pulled up if you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do yours real quick while I
okay.
fish out mine.
So my first one, I'm gonna start with the most sexual one.
Always a great start.
Sit your ripe ass on my face.
Mm-hmm.
I wish this was a video podcast so y'all could see the face Marissa just made. So I don't know how I feel if I really want to read all of this out loud. But basically, this guy wants you to be like not showered.
Oh no, like a workout way, or like I haven't showered for 2 months kind of way?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Oh my god.
It just says, feed me your sweaty balls and unshowered cock.
Okay, yeah.
So, also
he loves... He's a homeless dude.
He loves Mediterranean-looking guys. Shout out to my ex. He would love him. Hairy guys, husky, or married.
Hey, send him the number.
I like how it's funny because it's like, oh yeah, I love Mediterranean-looking guys, hairy guys, husky guys, or married. Is that like a separate cat? Like, you don't have to be any of those things if you're married. I guess it's totally
separate entity going on.
Like, oh, you could be the opposite of that, but if you're married, hit me up. Yeah. What?
Or married.
Oh, it's okay to contact this poster with services or other commercial interests. Of course it is.
If I was an English teacher in college, I would pull out Craigslist posts, entertain them, and be like, why don't you correctly edit each one of these?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Now that would get the kids interested in learning.
Here's the thing: is I think you could get fired.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, it would just be like sex ed / English.
Sex ed, eat, like something about ripe ass. Yeah, sex ed. My next one is a doozy as well. Marilyn Monroe-ish, spend time with her spirit plus bohemian character. I have to start out by saying that
I know she's 420 friendly, or he, whoever.
it's a woman. I have to start out by saying that I hate the way people use the word bohemian for things like this, because bohemia has nothing to do with long flowing skirts and like what people intend it to mean. Bohemia is a region in Eastern Europe. It's very cold. People say bohemian, but they don't mean bohemian. They need to find another word. Because they're like, oh yeah, bohemian rap style, boho this, boho that. I'm like, that does not mean what you think it means. Like, that region has nothing to do with your long flowing skirt and your crop top.
Your Halloween costume makeup.
Oh god, issue. I don't even want to get into that. Okay, I will. I'll read this ad after this because I'm still angry about it. So, for Halloween, I decided, and Marissa sent me a link to some, like, fawn makeup, and I was like, that's cute. Like, I don't have any money for a costume. I can just do makeup. Like, that's perfect.
Taylor's
that's
pretty
cute.
Good at makeup.
I consider myself pretty good at it. You know. But here's the thing about that is people spell it F-A-U-N when they mean F-A-W-N. And the difference between that is, like, very important because, like, the F-A-U-N, the way people think that it should be spelled when they do fawn makeup online, is like the Roman equivalent of a satyr. And for people that aren't familiar with Greek and or Roman mythology, fawns and satyrs actually have the legs of a goat and the horns of a goat. It has nothing to do with deer. There's no version of it that has anything to do with deer. And so people are like, oh, fawn makeup. And I'm like, you're spelling it wrong. You mean fawn like a baby deer. Like, you don't have goat legs. Like, stop. And
that video we would watch.
Right?
Okay?
No, absolutely.
And the thing about it,
too, is, like, when you Google fawn, F-A-U-N, the first thing that comes up is the Roman mythology goat thing. Like, it literally does not say the word deer anywhere. So I don't know where people got that idea or if they started spelling it like that because they thought it was cool or something. But it just, like, it bothers me a lot as a classics student, okay? And it, like, you know, and it also just, like, generally it's just annoying because it's like people, and you know, I can't, like, you know, correct people on it because they'll get upset at me or whatever, but it's like the makeup you're doing is not what you say it is. Like, you know, if I'm gonna look up how to do fawn makeup, like, I'm gonna be looking for one or the other. They're two vastly different things. They don't overlap at all. Yeah. Anyway, back to Marilyn Monroe's spirit. I've put out an advert for a gig. I am available as fun and beautiful companion for Halloween. Entertainment wherever we go. Enjoy in disbelief by the attention gathered. Wouldn't it be marvelous to have the most darling and genuine creature by your side who happens to be the spitting image and nature of Marilyn Monroe? I am available to, quote, be the show by your side while taking in all the marvel and shenanigans of Hollywood on Halloween. Just a beautiful social experience with the most lovable bohemian lady. Okay, bohemian again. Are you from, like, Eastern Europe? I don't think so. Who happens to be way too similar to Marilyn for belief. You can look me up on Facebook. I am the winner of the Spirit of Marilyn Award.
Okay, we have to look that up later.
So this woman thinks that she looks like Marilyn Monroe.
So basically she's a nut.
She put a picture. And, like, I don't know. I don't think it's actually a picture of her. I think it's literally a picture of Marilyn Monroe that she put up.
Well, and to were we watching?
If that is a picture of her, she does look just like her. But I'm pretty sure she just found a picture of her online.
It's like I watched Men's Addiction. Like, I want to be Pamela Anderson.
Oh,
like,
no, that one is that the one with Scotch Pammy?
Oh yeah. She's like, you know, London or British, whatever. Pamela Anderson, and it's not.
I'm the British Pamela Anderson. Oh, I'm Pammy this, Pammy that. Oh, we're having a meet-up, and I'm Pamela Anderson. Oh, Pammy, shut the fuck up.
One woman came up to her on the street and was just like, so why would you do all this to yourself? Like, how much, you know, cosmetic surgery have you had? You look like Pamela, and blah, blah, blah. And the Scotch Pammy was just like, what? I can't believe, I can't do the accent, but I can't believe they would ask me that. I can't believe they'd be so rude and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, that's a valid concern. Like,
right.
Like,
I'm just gonna do the rest of the podcast in that accent. I'm speak the rest of the podcast in a British accent just because I can. Yeah, no, but that woman is like ridiculous. Didn't she meet later on too? She met like one of the other stars of Baywatch who was like kind of freaked out. She was like, "Whoa, you look so much like her," and she was like, "I'm Scottish Pammy." Oh.
But the thing is that if Taylor and I were talking about this too, if I were a celebrity and someone had so many cosmetic surgeries to look like me, I'd be creeped out. I'd automatically get a restraining order just on the basis she's trying to be my twin. And like, I'm sure on some level it's flattering. You think I'm pretty, whatever, but...
Well, because it's one thing for somebody to try to emulate your style.
Yeah, emulating is cool. Literally cutting things off and adding to you to look like someone, I don't know.
Yeah, and she had like these giant, ridiculous boobs. Oh my god, it was so funny. It was funny in a really sad way. Like by the end of the episode, I was like, I kind of feel bad for this woman that she's like so insecure that she feels the need to
and her dad does her hair, and she's like, yeah, I'm about to be Pamified. And her dad was like, yeah, I think my daughter's pretty hot. I was like, oh, okay.
What was oh yeah, that was the word. She was like, I want to add a word to the Oxford Dictionary. Pamification.
Oh yeah, pamification.
Is that like Californication?
David Duchovny.
Oh, I was talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. How dare you? Yeah, my third Craigslist. Back to the horribleness that is Craigslist. Ready for this? Ready? Mm-hmm. Submissive young guy seeking spoiled, demanding princess.
Oh my god, that sounds like a description of me. Oh. Wait, I lost the remote.
I moved here from England pretty recently and haven't done a lot of socializing. I've always had a spoiled, demanding girlfriend in my life that would boss me around, spend my money, and basically treat me like a slave. And it's always gone quite well. I'm 27, average height and weight, not fat or ugly or anything. Will obviously send pics if you do. I'm really not physically picky at all. I only hope you'll be talkative. I really enjoy the feeling of obeying, worshiping, and spoiling a demanding princess. You can make me drive you around, buy you things, kiss your shoes, write your poems, whatever makes you smile or laugh. If you think it just sounds fun to experiment with, let me know.
I don't think he needs an ad to find a girl that will do all those things for him.
Yeah, he lives in LA. Just walk down the street.
Walk down the street, yell, hey, I have a credit card. Who wants to charge something?
Right? Like, what does he look like? I need to pay my student loans. Like, this is a viable job option for me.
It's basically like seeking arrangements.
Here's the thing is, like, I'm not, like, spoiled enough that, like, I feel bad when people spend money on me. Like, I could never be in that situation. Like, I feel bad when people buy me dinner. For me, it
depends on, like, the context, but I pretty much never care. So.
Like, I feel horrible when people even, like, try to buy me dinner, okay? Like, I don't know. I would feel too bad to ever be, even if I was like, rich person, buy me everything. Like, I couldn't. It would just, like, hurt me inside. Yeah.
I was an only child, so it's a little easier for me to just take things and be a jerk.
My God.
So.
If I remember correctly.
Are those all your
Yeah, those are mine.
Okay, so some of mine, I don't know. I might just say bleep instead of the word, but
No.
read
it. Don't be a bitch.
Best.
Don't be a bitch. Read it.
Okay, let's see. It's just like, I don't know if... Okay. I just have, like, some weird... Like, I just feel like eventually someone's just gonna cut me saying certain words and be like, I don't know. Hey, Grandma, I found your granddaughter saying some interesting things online. Alright, so let me decide...
Which one you're gonna read first?
Okay. I'm gonna go worst to best.
Like,
this was a little
define
depressing.
Best? Like, best or like best?
Like best.
Oh no. Okay.
I know. I guess when you think of Craigslist, you kind of flip it around.
Yeah.
This one's just weird. Okay. Cosmic body bounding.
Oh no.
That is a poem. I read that before. Man for woman. So this is a poem I wrote long ago. I still have our furry guy's shirt in my closet. I never returned it.
Wait.
The red shoebox.
Furry.
I'm reading it as it is. I don't know. The red shoebox still there. They are reminders. I remember the good things. This is supposed to be a poem also. Unfortunately, some of the bad things keep popping up. I would like to cross us, to both meet in the middle of this bridge we have been building across the vast emptiness of this split. We are connected. It's like I have an injured arm or leg. More like heart and mind. But you get the picture.
No, I don't.
I want to make that picture complete, whatever it is. So I have no way of contacting you. Reach out to me. There is no malice in my heart. I am not vengeful. You will see. That is why I am here. Love and hugs. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And how is that a poem? I don't...
What? Can I ask what category this is under?
This was in Missed Connections.
What?
Okay, next one. Hot wife who's tired of his tiny penis. She is fit. Her eyes are green. She has blonde hair. She's 5'6". She's 128. Of course, she's married. The photos
she's
of her
5'6",
are naked.
128? That girl needs to eat something. She's tiny.
She lying. She has her photos on here. I could...
She lying.
You know.
Wow.
She lying.
Sounds like a Jerry Springer.
So the photo is her body, but her arms are up. I guess probably to make her boobs maybe look higher. I don't know. Or maybe she's taking the photo, her face out. And the second photo is her... She has no clothes on from the bottom down, heels, and she's bending like into a car, I guess. But there's one other person awkwardly staying in the side who's almost completely cut off. But there's also has to be one other person there taking the photo. So I'm not sure how she set that one up. Okay. I'm a very happily married woman who needs a real man with a real cock. I had it before and I want it again. I am my husband's mistress and I am hot. A hot wife.
You're not his mistress if you're his wife. That's not how that works.
Cuckold him with the right bull. And you need to host it. Your home, condo, apartment. No hotels or motels. Please live in Upper Peninsula. Plus, I'm on the mature side, but young at heart. So you need to be 40 or older. I am looking for a long-term, quote, relationship, unquote, with the right man. Plus, you need to be okay with some of his consequences. I will whip its little wee-wee with a belt or cane. Make him sleep on the floor. Cuckold him, orgasm denial, or have him suck your cock. Oh, I think the husband's involved now. Okay.
So the husband knows?
I guess he's involved because it says man, woman, for man. So I guess.
So the husband knows he has a tiny dick.
And he's involved.
And that she's unhappy about it. Okay. Now I've got it.
The last consequence that I mentioned would be the most humiliation for him. So I guess maybe he's into humiliation. I guess.
Perfect if you have a tiny dick, if that's like your fetish.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's a lot to take in, but... Alrighty. Okay. Of course, her status is married. Okay. So this one is the one, I don't know how much I can read, but I'll do my best so I won't be a, quote, little bitch, unquote.
Oh, no.
The title is Bareback Four-Way, Man for Man. The Spa. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on. Okay. I just have to say with a straight face. You are the hung married dad, and I made you wait until I had a couple of other loads inside me before I let you fuck me because I wasn't sure if I could take your long, thick monster cock balls deep without some extra lubrication. You penetrated me patiently and carefully because you could tell that even after being fucked by two
misconnection? Is this something that already happened, or is he fantasizing? What is going on?
It's a misconnection.
I thought this was like a fantasy. Christ.
You penetrated me patiently and carefully because you could tell that even after being fucked by two smaller dicks before yours, I still needed some time to just how huge you are. Once I accommodated you all the way inside, you had excellent control over the 7-day load of sperm you had stored up in your nuts as you slowly built up the pace of your thrust. You whispered in my ear how the cum that was already inside me was making my asshole feel warm and wet like your wife's pussy when you fuck her.
That took a turn. So they're like off doing Brokeback Mountain shit and they're all married. They should go on more.
This is 36. This guy's 36, by the way. This man is 36. I might be back at the spa next week, and I hope you can join me. Tell me what I whispered in your ear once I finally gave you permission to come inside me. After I know it's you, I want to make arrangements to feel you expanding my hole wider as your pulsating cock squirts inside me again.
Oh,
I'll clean
okay.
the semen off your dick with my mouth again, too. If you haven't already done it to your wife, maybe you can get me pregnant with that massive baby-making sized load of cum this week.
Wait, I thought this was a dude?
It's man for man, so I don't...
All right, carry on.
I don't know.
So you don't want to continue. You don't have to.
No, that's it. But it's a lot. That's a lot to take in.
Yeah,
take in.
apparently. So it seems it was.
Apparently he has some problems. And apparently it's at a spa, so I guess it's like a fake spa maybe for that. I don't. Anyway.
What?
I hope no one was eating just then.
What? What?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
There's no words that need to be said.
Yeah, you are not wrong there.
That was a tough one, but I read it all, so.
Yeah, wow, props to
I feel
you
like
on
I
that
need to
one.
shower. I feel like I need to shower after. Oh, God. Oh.
Honestly, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting it.
I really want a meatball sub from Subway.
Is that real? Or did you just read that out and now you're hungry?
No, I was hungry before I read it, but now I'm like, all this thing balls, I want some meatball.
So, let me get this straight.
Some Subway. Well, there was a commercial on too for Subway too, but.
What the fuck?
It was just bad timing. There was a commercial for Subway. I was reading this very sexually
I really
thing.
want Subway. I'm so hungry after reading about.
There's the title of this week's podcast.
Christ almighty.
You can't beat those meatball marionettes, so.
I mean, that is the best Subway sandwich. Everybody knows that.
Everybody, yeah, hands down.
Here's the thing too, is I always tell myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I only need like, half, that's fine. And then I'm like, nah, I'm gonna eat the whole thing.
I know, it's too good, especially when you have them toasted and you just eat it there. Oh.
Right. There's a Subway on campus, fun fact.
Oh, nice.
There's a Subway, there's like a Panda Express. There's a lot of good shit going on.
Oh, yeah, after this, maybe I'm going to Subway.
Yeah, you made me really want Subway. Too bad I have a lot of work to do this weekend, and I'm ignoring all of it, so that's fun. Sitting here recording a podcast instead of doing illustration roughs. But hey, oh well.
If Satan would just hook us up, God.
Yeah, wow, come on, Satan, get the fuck on it.
Damn, selfish Satan, let's go. In Taylor's phone, I am Satan.
When did you change your phone to Satan back in the like Motorola Razr days, which is not saying a lot for me because I had mine until like sophomore year of high school or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Marissa changed her name to Satan in my phone a long time ago, and I just keep it because it's funny. It's been like, how many years has it been? Because I don't remember when you did that. You might have done that still in middle school.
Too many. I don't even remember. I just was like, oh, wouldn't it be so funny?
Right, you're like, I'm going to change my phone number to Satan and then text Taylor and it'd be really funny.
And then it was in my picture like some weird baby or something.
Oh, yeah. Remember it was like a picture of a baby that like Oprah posted on her Instagram or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really funny.
Taylor's contact photo is like the Neopets dung like icon, like jar of dung or something.
I mean, it's not inaccurate.
I am jar of dung.
Well, yeah. There are only a few people in my phone whose contact pictures are actually like normal looking photos of them.
Yeah. I don't really know how many.
Like most are weird, just weird things, or like weird like Snapchats of them where they look really horrible. But yeah, there are very few people in my phone where their pictures are like normal, attractive looking pictures.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's always funny too because like when you have a really weird ringtone for somebody too, and then also a ridiculous picture comes up.
Oh yeah, mine for my friend Logan is this "Hello Goodbye" song, and it goes, "I will kill you in your sleep." It keeps going on and on.
Mine for
That
you
was
is
a fun
X-Files
one.
because you're really into X-Files. And it's funny because
Oh
if you ever
god,
call
I'm
me,
really
people are like, oh,
X-Files.
do you watch X-Files? I'm like, no, but my friend really does, so I made that her ringtone. Like, I've never really watched it because whatever, but...
Good. Yeah, your ringtone is that Seinfeld episode where there's like, there's like the son, his dad, and like his grandpa, and they're all like Mendelbaum. They all think they're really strong and can all lift the TV, and they all end up in the hospital because they can't. None of them can lift like the TV or something. And then at the end they go Mendelbaum, Mendelbaum.
If I called you
anyway,
right now, would the mic pick it up?
I don't know if I might have to redo it because I like killed my last phone, so I don't know if it's still gonna be saved.
Never mind. But yeah, for a while I think, I was Baby Got Back for you, right, too?
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
I didn't have custom ringtones for a long time.
Well, I just made mine.
Plus, like, nobody ever really calls me.
I know no one calls. I was with my cousin and her like husband and whatever, and they were talking about like going over their minutes, and I'm like, I don't really call people. I just pretty much FaceTime them or text them or
right. If
snap
anything, I have to
them.
worry about going over the data. I don't think I've used minutes.
I know, but yeah, if someone calls me that I usually FaceTime, it's like something's wrong, something's going on.
Absolutely, yeah. Like
somebody's hurt.
And it's funny too. Sometimes like the people that I do talk on the phone with though are like my roommates, where I'm like, hey, I don't have the, whatever automatic gate thing for the carport, can you open it from inside, whatever, and it's just easier to call so that they know that it's important or whatever. Because with a text, sometimes you don't respond right away because you assume it's not important because, hello, it's a text, like, who cares? Like, I've always said that, like, if, like, you really need to get in contact with me, call me. Like, if it's really actually important, you know what I mean? Like, because even if I have, like, 15 texts from Marissa, I'm like, oh, it's just Marissa being Marissa. Like, I would never think, oh, no, what's going on? Because if it was something serious, you'd call me. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm not texting you 15 times.
Right?
That's for only really important things. Like, there's a funny commercial.
It's a funny commercial or a funny episode of Jerry Springer or...
Yeah, that would pretty much be it.
Or you're at a Halloween party and there's, like, a buff centaur for some reason.
He was supposed to be Krampus, which I guess is German evil Santa who terrorizes kids.
Funnily enough, I had a conversation about that the other day. Once again, you know who you are. But that's so funny. Because here's the thing. That picture you sent me, I was not looking at his face.
Yeah, but obviously he's wearing that costume because he's ripped, okay? He's not wearing that costume because he loves... Oh, but the funny thing, it was a Chewbacca costume that he cut.
Oh my god.
I asked him because I'm like, so, like, obviously you made it, but what was it? He's like, oh, Chewbacca. And I was like, okay. Interesting.
I mean, I guess if you need a costume made of fur, Chewbacca is the way to go, right? Like...
Yeah. And, but he kept reminding me... Because obviously he knows, like, he's in shape or whatever, so I just kept calling him Danny DeVito because my thought process was, Centaur, Hercules, Danny DeVito played the Centaur and Hercules, like, Danny DeVito all night. He's like, oh, don't call me Danny DeVito sucks. And I was like, let's look up Danny DeVito's net worth right now. Oh, you're worth $70 million. Not a bad night to be Danny DeVito, okay? Relax.
My God. Yeah, it's always funny, too, because here's the thing. This is, like, the classic student coming out of me bitching again. Because people are always like, oh, Hercules this, Hercules that. Literally, the name Hercules came from the fact that the Romans couldn't pronounce his actual name. His name was Heracles with a K, and not Hercules, cool, Heracles. But the Etruscans had an accent when they heard it from the Greeks, and so the Romans couldn't understand the Etruscans, and they couldn't pronounce it, so they changed it to Hercules, because the Greek alphabet doesn't have... Especially the ancient Greek alphabet does not have an equivalent to the letter C. Everything is a K. And so it's like the Romans pronounced it Hercules because they were dumb and didn't know how to pronounce Heracles. And for some reason, that's the pronunciation that everybody knows. I'm like, the dude was Greek. He was a Greek hero. Say his name in
That's just
Greek,
from the
you
Disney
idiot.
movie. I guarantee that's the only reason people pronounce it that way.
That's because that's like the most common one because the Romans were like passing that one down a lot. I don't know why I know so much about this, but it bothers me.
It's basically like white America trying to pronounce a Hispanic name.
No, absolutely. It's the same reason why
What's your name, Jesus?
Jesus? Yeah, right. It's the same thing as when like people say, "Oh, Alexander the Great." His name wasn't Alexander; it was Alexandros. There's no X in the Greek alphabet. Like his name was not Alexander. That's like the Latinized version of his name.
Alexander.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's funny to me because it's like in most other languages, like if like you wouldn't change Vladimir Putin's name to something else. You know what I mean? You wouldn't change his name to a different... You wouldn't start calling him Vernon. You know, and it's the same thing. It's a totally different name. Like, they're related on some level. You know what I mean? But if people are like, oh, Alexander this, Alexander that. And I'm like, that's not his... Here's the thing, is, like, I'm the only person ever that's, like, bitchy about it. Just as, like, a person that's familiar. But it's, like... You know, and I didn't really realize it until recently. I was like, how weird is that we insist on changing his name because we can't say Alexandros?
Yeah.
Like, what? It's like you change it to a name with letters that the Greek alphabet doesn't have. Like when you put the equivalent of Alexandros into the Roman alphabet, it's not X, it's KS. So if you're going to spell it with Roman letters, at least spell it the way he would have spelled it. I don't know why shit like that bothers me so much, but it's just like because you don't really think about it, and then the more you think about it, you're like, oh no, I have been learning forever like famous people's names, and it was not their name. And it's like, you know, it's like you wouldn't change people's names, you know, like God forbid, like if there was like a famous American and some other country like changed their name to fit their language, America would be so upset.
Yeah. It's very, like, conceited, too. Like, yeah, we better change it, because if I can't say it, like, we better fix that, because I need to be able to say it my own way.
Yeah, because everybody spoke English. That's the way it works. Everybody speaks English. God forbid Alexander the Great, who lived in Greece and was Greek, has a Greek name. God for fucking bid.
I can't believe that! Against me in my great American country.
My God, right? How dare you? Here's the thing, like, I don't speak, like, a huge amount of Greek, okay? Like, I can read the Greek alphabet, you know what I mean? Like, I have a story to tell about that, too. Oh, boy. We're already over an hour, but I need to tell this story so the audience is familiar. Marissa has heard this. I bitch about this all the time. Marissa, you know the story I'm about to tell. So, when you study classics, at least where I am, when you study classics, you either have to take a certain number of language courses in Greek or Latin, depending on if you're emphasizing in ancient Greece or ancient Rome. My personal emphasis is ancient Greece. So, you know, because that's what I know, that's what I'm familiar with, that's what I love, you know. And so what a weird combination, illustration and ancient Greece. But, you know, and so I was like, oh, I need to take semesters of, not modern Greek, by the way. I have to learn how to speak ancient Greek, which is a whole fucking thing, okay? And I was like, oh, you know, like, I need to take a couple semesters of ancient Greek. Like, you know, I'm kind of nervous about it. You know, I'm not as familiar with the Greek alphabet as I am with the Roman alphabet, obviously, because that's what we use, you know? And I was like, you know, like, I know some bit of the Greek alphabet, you know, but I'm more familiar now than I was at the time. And this fucking friend of mine goes, you just need to get out of your white person mindset so you can learn another. I was like, excuse me? I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I was like, what do you mean get out of my white person mindset to learn a new alphabet? I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how dare you, like, assume that just, like, okay, obviously I am white. I'm very white. That's the way that it works. But, like, how dare you assume that, like, just because I happen to be white, I can't learn another language? I am borderline fluent in Spanish, you fucking piece of shit. How dare you assume that I can't learn other languages because I'm white? Okay, like, it just made me so angry. I was like, look, I mentioned that I'm nervous about learning another language because I have to learn to write in a whole new alphabet. My handwriting in Greek is shitty, okay? I admit that.
Taylor can speak Spanish really well. Like, we talked about that last week. Like, maybe it's, it doesn't make any sense.
I was like, what do you mean? You want me to get, like, you have to just get out of your white person mindset. You'll be able to learn the language better. Languages are something I pick up well. Okay, like, that's one of the only things I'm good at learning is languages. How dare you? And I had to talk about it because, like, that's something that has been bothering me ever since my friend said it. And I have never, like, I'm not going to, like, be confrontational about it because I don't want to make it a whole thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm probably never going to mention it to my friend, obviously, because, like, whatever, it's probably an offhand comment. They didn't realize, they didn't think about it, whatever. So I don't want to make it a whole thing because this was, like, a while back, but it was just, it's enough that it, like, bothered me severely, and I still think about it. I was like, if you don't want people to, like,
it's just an obnoxious thing to tell.
Yeah, it's like, if you don't want people to say shit like that to you, don't say shit like that to other people. I don't know. And it just, like, and the podcast on a really upbeat note there. But it was just, like, it was so stupid to me. I was like, what does that mean? And of course, my friend was like, I've been learning, X language, and the characters are different in this, and this is why, and it's much harder for me, because in this language, like, you do this, and I don't want to be specific, because I don't want to, like, call them out on it, but, like, I don't know. I was like, it just bothered me a lot, I was like, I have to learn X language, and it's a lot harder than that, like, da-da-da, it's like, you're learning a language that's commonly used. You can speak to people in that language, like, nobody speaks ancient Greek anymore. I can't have a conversation with somebody in ancient Greek. Like, I just have to learn how to write it and speak it, like, just to read stuff. Like, if this was a video podcast, you would see me with my, like, hand on my forehead right now, because I just, like, I'm just, like, enraged thinking about it. I don't know. It's super dumb. Plus, like, like, Marissa knows sign language, too. Like, can you learn sign language if you're white? Like, is that okay?
Yeah, I guess I'm not allowed to do it. I don't tell her that.
Right. Plus, like, okay, Greeks. Origin of Western culture. Basically, origin of white people culture. Like, how does that involve me getting out of my white person mindset and learning the language of the origin of white people? How does that make sense?
Some people just love being the victim,
The language of the whites. What do you want from me?
That's what you should say next time if they bring it up again. Like, by the way, if anything, I should become even whiter.
Right? I know, right? I should become, like, a level 4 white person at that point. You get, like, a sticker.
Then you'd vote for Donald Trump, too, or something.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I don't even want to talk about Donald Trump. I do not want to give that fucking corn cob the time of day, okay? He is a waste of fucking space.
All I'm saying, not that anyone should be assassinated, but I'm just saying I'm surprised it hasn't happened to him.
What hasn't happened? I didn't hear you.
That he wasn't, like, assassinated, or, like, because it like, I'm not going to say too much, I don't want to come off, I'm not saying, like, he should be, I'm just saying, like, I'm surprised no one has tried to threaten him, because he's a nut. I don't, I
think I'm afraid of him.
I was talking to someone and saying, like, well, George, Bush was elected, and he was stupid, and I said, well, I feel like here's the difference, is if I was with George Bush, I could talk to him about how he paints dogs. I could talk to him about, like, normal people things, even though I didn't agree with him because he's dumb. But Donald Trump, he's just going to, like, cough out, like, $100 bill and throw it away or something. I'm going to be like, what's going on? You're going to get in a fight with him no matter what as a normal person talking to him, because he's not a normal person. He's a nut.
Yeah,
he's
like,
a grade A certified nut.
Like, George Bush was a running joke and was not a good president and was probably not a great person. But he is nowhere, like, you thought he was bad, like,
he's like your dumb
for
uncle,
those people in other countries that are not familiar with Donald Trump, like, just look some of that.
His name
like,
is Donald.
First of all, he's king of the white person names, but
Donald.
He's racist. He's a rapist. Also, he raped his wife and didn't get in trouble for it. He's horrible and misogynistic, other than the fact that he's a rapist.
Sexist,
he said that if his daughter wasn't his daughter, he'd sleep with her. He is a grade A creep, and there are people that support him. What has to go wrong in your life?
And he actually thinks bringing his wife on his presidential tour is going to get women to want to vote for him. Somehow. Even though I don't want to even look up the age difference between him and his wife, but I'm sure it's substantial. She's a pretty, relatively young woman, you know?
He basically, because for anybody that's not familiar with for anybody that's surprised by the fact that Donald Trump is a rapist, which I don't know why you'd be surprised by that, but for anybody that's not familiar with that story, if you don't live in America or whatever, basically his wife came out and said that he raped her, but then he basically strong-armed her into her taking it back. She came out and said that he did this horrible thing. She, described the whole thing, and it was really horrible and really, heartbreaking to read, because I heard that and I had to look it up to verify. I wanted to make sure that that was true, before I started telling people that. I don't want to spread shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not true. And so I looked it up and I was like, holy shit, this is, this is really bad. This is real, And basically, he, threatened her and strong-armed her into taking it back. And so, everything about it is true, and she was just like, oh, never mind, I'm not going to press charges. Because he basically, threatened her.
I mean, just how terrifying in general. Women already have to constantly are burdened with fear of something horrible happening to them, let alone your husband, who's supposed to actually care about you and
right? Is that not the point of getting married, is that, you love somebody so much, you're you want to spend the rest of their life,
you trust them with your life. Yeah, you trust them completely.
Ugh. He's so gross. He's such a pig.
Anyway, I'm surprised no one has tried anything harmful to him. I'm really...
People have probably tried. He's probably just paid a lot of money to make it go away.
He's so dumb.
That's all he has is money. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and he always says, I built my business on his own. I'm pretty sure it was his dad's business. He was like, here you go. I'm sure he had, of course... Yeah, I'm sure he's smart in business, but that brings up another point. If you're a really good businessman, you're probably a scummy guy. Just because to sell something to someone, usually it involves, lying a little bit, wording differently. When you go to buy a car, the guy buying a car is going to try and put you in a piece of crap just to sell it and make money. So him being this great businessman means nothing to me.
Right? I mean, that's why he's a great politician.
Exactly, yeah, but anyway.
I was about to say, I apologize to anybody that's whatever. I don't apologize to you. If you're watching our podcast and you support Donald Trump or anything to do with him, I'm sorry, but you are not welcome here. I'm not going to apologize for talking shit. I refuse, because the man scares me. As a woman, the idea of him...
I would just like to give some advice to people who like Donald Trump, and that is to not reproduce.
Or at least if you do, don't pass on your horrible things to your children.
Yeah, let them...
Oh, God. Yeah, what a mess. What did he say, too? Build a wall.
Oh, yeah. We don't have enough money to, feed starving people or whatever. We somehow have enough money to build a wall. Doesn't he want Mexico to pay for the wall, actually?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
What we're going to take...
What a tool. He is such a fucking tool.
They're going to have them build it, pay for it, and then leave over there. And, immigration's a whole thing, but to immigrate over that border is terrifying, especially for women. It's horrifying. Bad things are going to happen to you. It takes a lot of courage to even do that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. I am all about, I understand... I can relate to the idea of somewhere, I can't, relate personally, but, I can absolutely sympathize with where you live being terrifying and wanting to find a better life for you and your children. And I got into an argument with my grandma one day over the summer because she was she literally used the phrase stealing our jobs. And I was like, here's the thing, Grandma, God. I don't need to work. You know what I mean? I understand my privilege as, a white woman of 20. You know what I mean? Like, I can get loans from the government for my school. I can do right now. I don't need to work because the government's paying for my school because I'm poor. But you know what I mean? And so it's like, if somebody is willing to put in the initiative to go out and get a job and work really hard at that job, why am I going to be upset
get past
if they
all the racism too?
If they get picked over me, I'm okay with that, because guess what? Chances are they're more qualified. You know what I mean?
Like, people saying like, oh, if we pay for everyone's healthcare, your taxes are going to go up so much. Like, well, that will suck when it comes, but I will gladly pay extra taxes so people who can't afford health insurance can be covered, because that's important to me, that everyone can feel safe and go to the doctor or whatever. That's just like a big deal that,
exactly. Like, like I get health insurance because the company that my mom works for, my mom is an accountant, for anybody that's not familiar with my mom. My mom is an accountant, and my mom also is really great because, she didn't graduate from college, whatever, and she managed to, do fairly well for herself in the sense that, she has a job in an investment firm that, whatever, and she managed to get that far without a college degree, which is basically unheard of these days, And so it's like, I have a lot of like, and the only reason that I have insurance and stuff is because of the fact that my mom works for this investment firm. They provide, insurance for their employees because they're a good company. The owner of the company is like a fucking billionaire, And obviously, it's hard because my mom makes more money on paper than we actually get back, so like, which is hard in itself, so my family is like by no means super rich, but it's nice to know that like insurance is not something that I personally have to worry about as long as my mom is working for that company, like they have, medical insurance and dental insurance. And so when I had that whole thing with my tooth, the insurance was able to cover most of it. It was not, a problem, like, and it sucks to think about that, there are a lot of people that don't have that, like there would have been something really wrong with my mouth if I had not had insurance. I would not have been able to pay for that. I would probably not have a tooth. They would have had to just get rid of it.
Yeah, I have health insurance out of pocket, but I don't have dental, so I have to go to like, health and wellness clinic to get it done, and luckily that's around, or I would have like 1,000 cavities still. Like, I'm still going every X amount of months to have 1 or 2 filled in. I'm a terrible person. I don't know how to take care of myself. But if that wasn't around, I don't know what I would do, because I literally had cavities in between most of my teeth. So, and it, like a wooden jaw or something.
Right. And it scares me too to think that there are people that are trying to like defund Planned Parenthood and stuff too.
Oh God.
And that's something that's scary to me, because it's like, as a woman, even if I don't need to go in there because I think I'm pregnant or you're getting an STD test, whatever, just as like a women's health resource, they are invaluable as a resource for women's health, transgender health. Like, there's a lot of things like that they are just really wonderful. You know what I mean? You don't, you can go in there as a woman, like, you're not there to take a pregnancy test, you're not there to get an STD test. Like, you can go in there if you just have questions about your health, and they will take care of you for free. You know what I mean? You can go in there and, like, I had an incident, this was, I guess like 2 years ago, where, my boyfriend at the time, his ex texted him, was like, oh, haha, by the way, I have chlamydia. And, like, we knew that it wasn't a problem because he hadn't been with her for a really long time. You know what I mean? But, we were like, okay, well, now we have to deal with this because what if? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we knew that it was not going to be a problem and it was not whatever, but it was nice to think that if it did become a problem, there's somewhere that it would be possible to deal with it, and I was like 18, 19 at the time, so I was like, I don't want my parents to know, like, whatever. And it was like, obviously it did not end up being a problem because this was just a crazy bitch and we don't know if it was actually real or not, you know what I mean? Or if she just had like a vendetta against me, which whatever, but it was like, it was nice to know that those resources are available to people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. And it's scary to me to think that men, first of all, are the main people that are behind this, are trying to defund something like that just because they support abortions.
And it's done because the percentage abortions and that kind of stuff that they do is minuscule compared to the actual work that they're doing.
Right.
Of,
and I don't think all Planned Parenthood clinics actually do it either.
Yeah, like, and just because, even if you, I mean, obviously I don't even need to say, if you close down Planned Parenthood, women are going to go elsewhere. They're going to pay out of pocket at some really expensive medical facility. They're going to go other countries. They're going to do it themselves. It's going to be done.
Like people are going to do that shit no matter what.
But
yeah, it's like people are going to do that shit no matter what. You might as well, like, give people the option, you know. And my thing personally is I'm not, like, pro or con. Like, I don't know what I would do personally if I was in that situation. But anyway, what I was saying is, like, I don't know what I personally would do in that situation. You know, that's not a situation I've ever been in. You know, depending on if it was, you know, somebody that it was my boyfriend and I accidentally got pregnant, or if, you know what I mean. Like, I don't know what I would do in that situation. But obviously, I'm going to support other people having the ability to decide what they do.
Yeah, you know, being like, pro-choice doesn't mean no one loves abortion. That's where people think, like,
yeah, people don't understand that pro-choice. People don't understand that pro-choice doesn't mean pro-abortion. You know what I mean? You may personally not ever want to get an abortion for yourself because that's something like that might not scare you. You might not, you know, or it might scare you. You might not believe in it, whatever. But, like, you know, it's not fair for you to try to tell somebody else what they should do. And that's why it kind of blows my mind.
Also, like,
right? It, like, that's what blows my mind about the whole thing is, first of all, it's men that are trying to have an opinion. And I'm like, when you can get pregnant, then you're allowed to have an opinion. Okay.
Then we'll
like,
discuss it.
And, you know, and it's like, I distinctly remember saying that I wasn't going to get too political on the podcast, but guess what? Haha, surprise. We live in California. You should expect this from us. But, you know, and it's hard for me to believe, and it scares me kind of, the idea that, you know, somebody else is like, somebody like Donald Trump is going to try to tell me what I should do with my own body. Like, how dare you assume that you have the right to that? You know what I mean?
And
like,
I think he's such a flip-flopper because at first, you know, he supported women, and then he came out saying something else, and I was like, I don't know what you want. I don't trust you. I don't want you remotely responsible for anything that has to do with me or my beautiful vag, you know? Like, get out of there. Politics should not be in there. But
yeah. I don't know. And it's like, I don't know. And it's hard because, like, you know, I understand if you're raised religiously one way or another, you know what I mean? And your religion says that, you know, abortion is, I know there's some religions where you're not allowed to get, but there's also some religions where you're not allowed to get divorced, and people do anyway. You can't pick and choose.
Oh, yeah. I have, my grandparents' family is very Catholic, and her brother was married with kids for many, 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 many years. And he somehow got it annulled instead of divorce because, of course, he's Catholic and that would be a sin or whatever against the big book of rules. Whatever.
Oh my God, it's like Fairly Odd Parents. It's like, yeah. Oh, the rules.
The rules. And you're married with kids, and he's relatively wealthy, so who did he have to pay off to get it annulled? What was his excuse? Because you can get annulled if you have not had sex, no kids. Then if it's not consummated, you can get annulled. I know that because of friends, so maybe that's inaccurate. But, you know, like, you really want all that way just to not get divorced, which technically, if God really, really, really cared about that, he would still be like, nope, loophole, nope.
I've never, like, fully read the Bible, you know what I mean? Because whatever, you know, but because I'm not religious at all, but isn't there also a thing where you're, like, not supposed to wear, like, 2 different types of fabric together, too?
Yeah, it's so dumb. Like, you can't eat meat on
there's, like, a bunch of stuff, like, if your wife does something, you're supposed to, like, stone her, and, like, there's a bunch of stuff like that people are like, oh, no, we don't listen to that one anymore. But here's all this other stuff you have to do or else.
Because my grandparents are also, they like to eat. And I said, isn't gluttony a sin? Technically, like, eating a lot and overeating is technically it's 7 deadly sin, which maybe that's not a Bible thing. But anyway, whatever, some kind of sin. And they were just like, we don't care, whatever. I was like, okay, but yeah, you can't keep picking and choosing what you're gonna do, because the real religious people that honestly are just good people and they have a good heart, they don't care, you know, about gay people or anything. They just want everyone to be happy. But so many religious people aren't really, you know, what they claim to be.
I think a lot of the problem comes from, and I'm not really one to speak out about religion because I just don't know, I don't really necessarily know enough about religion and organized religion to really have an opinion on it, and I admit that, this is not my area of study, this is not my area of expertise, and so, I don't want to get too deep into something I don't know a lot about, but I find that for me personally, where I run into problems with, other people, and having conversations with them and stuff is when people sort of get the line blurred between their own religious experience being the most important and recruiting others being the most important.
Oh, yeah, because that, to me, I told my grandma, like, Grandma, do you know what a cult is? Yeah. Like, well, technically, your religion's like a cult, no big deal or anything. And we're really close, so I know you probably think I'm horrible, but my grandparents are basically like my other parents, it was just my mom and I and my grandparents, so, we kind of have that bond. And my grandma bugs me all the time, too, so don't worry about it, but... And it's just to them, yeah, it's, if you live your life a certain way, that's fine. But as soon as you tell anyone else what to do or not to do, that's where it's whatever. And my grandpa, being grandpa, he doesn't think a marriage is between a man or a woman because he's a nut. Obviously, Taylor and I want everyone to get married. I'm a minister, hit me up, let's do this. And my grandpa was getting annoyed about it. And I'm like, Grandpa, like, do you actually think that... Like, forget about the Bible. Like, I told him gay marriage predates the Bible. So whatever the Bible says, it was already going on before someone stomped their foot and said, you know what? Ew.
Right?
Like,
Ancient
God
Greeks,
signed off on
hella
it.
gay.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Gay.
Like, using, like, olive oil for lube or something like that. Like... And I don't know why. I feel like I read that somewhere. Maybe I made that up completely, but I'm pretty sure that happened.
Fucking Christ. I'm gonna die.
I'm like 98% sure that's a real thing.
I can't get past olive oil and lube. I don't know why it's so funny, but I can't stop laughing.
Nobody fact check me on that, okay? You just have to take my word for it. We're on the internet, and we all know the internet doesn't lie.
Yeah, by the way, you're not allowed to put lies on the internet.
Yeah, right?
My God.
Oh, man. But, yeah, do whatever you want. Just don't upset other people, basically.
Right.
Like,
and that, like, relates to what we were previously talking about, too. Like, I don't care what it is that you believe in, even if it's something that's not religiously associated. Like, even something as simple as your personal study habits. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with everybody doing whatever they want as long as nobody tries to force it on me. Like, I don't care if it's your religion or whatever you're doing. Like, you can do whatever you want as long as you don't try to force me to be a part of it when I tell you that I don't want to be. I don't know.
That just reminds me of how you hate baths, and I love baths. And sometimes I try and be like, Taylor, you need to love baths. And Taylor's just like, you know what? No. But now I know.
I'm like, you know what? No, because I don't necessarily agree with sitting in a pool of your own filth for an hour.
Well, I don't know how dirty you are because I am not, like,
I'm an art student.
That much.
I'm covered in art grime all the time. My hands are black from pencil. I'm not going to
jump in when I'm, like that. These bath is when you're, like, not really that dirty. No, you just, like, a little soak, wash your hair, and get out. You're good to go.
Here's the thing. I can't wash my hair in a bath. That's not a thing. I have, like...
Only one way to find out. Wink, wink.
I have too much... I stopped being able to wash my hair in a bath at, like, age 6, dude.
That doesn't make any sense.
I have always had long hair. I can't... Because here's the thing. But... You wash everything out of your hair, and then it's just floating around you forever. Especially once I started dyeing my hair. I'm just going to sit in a pool of, like... hair dye and grime and, like, graphite from my artwork and the ink that has stained my hands and, like, whatever art grime is under my nails.
Like, the point
and, like,
we can't force each other to change.
I am not about to sit in a pool of that. Like, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, when our shower wouldn't drain, it was basically like my feet being in a bath. It was the grossest thing. I have so much hair, here's the thing, too, that my hair sheds constantly. Like, I don't know how to describe how long my hair is, but, like, I have long hair. I have really thick hair. It sheds all the time. That's what happens when you have long hair.
Oh, my God.
Whatever.
When Taylor and I shared a hotel, I saw, like, my hair next to her hair in the tub, and her hair was literally at least like 5 times thicker, like width than my hair, and that because I really like I don't like hair. I'm getting more used to it. Even my own hair, you know, when it's like not on me, I feel repulsed, and I was just like, oh no,
I don't like it either. It grosses me out. Like, I don't care, like, hair on you, that's fine. If you're a hairy person, that's fine, you know, whatever. But a big clump of hair outside of the human body, especially wet clump of hair, like from taking a shower, I want to die. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. That's why our fucking shower thing has been such a... That's why our fucking shower thing has been such a gross issue, is because there's just, like, hair. And it's not, a lot of the hair in the drain is not our hair, because the people when we moved in didn't apparently clean the place.
They never do. I saw this thing on TV, and don't ask me how it works, and it's like some kind of drain thing you put in, like, apparently you, like, put it in the drain and it goes down, and it's supposed to, like, catch your hair as it goes down the drain, and then after, like, a month or whatever, you pull out the whole thing, full of hair, and throw the whole thing away.
No, that's not real. No,
I saw a TV ad for it.
There's an episode of My Strange Addictions where a guy is addicted to pulling hair out of a shower drain. Did you see that one?
No.
I watched it. I couldn't keep watching it. It grossed me out too much. Because he was, like, talking about it. He was, like, sitting there in, like, some random person's bathtub. He showed up to their house, and, like, it was, like, his friend. And he, like, went into their bathroom, was, like, picking the hair out of their shower drain. He was, like, feeling it. I was like, I can't watch this right now. I just wanted to eat lunch. Like, I'm not hungry anymore. Grosses me out too much.
Yeah. We'll watch any kind of Jerry, but that, no.
Right, I'll watch 10 episodes of Jerry Springer, but that shit, I cannot deal with it. It's so gross. And that's why, that's what the
I'd rather watch the porno of the twins sleeping together than
right. Well, I mean, you know, Christ. Porn makes me uncomfortable anyway, so I don't know. I'm not really, like, a porn person. Who knew we'd be talking about pornography today? But I personally,
this is like an extra special.
Right. I don't know. I'm not into porn. I don't really like it that much. Like, here's the thing.
See, here's the thing, guys. We're going to tell you the thing.
It would be one thing if there was, like, somebody you were in a relationship with, or, like, whatever situation you're in with, if you guys just bang or whatever your thing is, and you're, like, sending pictures back and forth, like, whatever, that's kind of hot, that's kind of cool, you know, whatever. But I don't really necessarily want to watch, like, 2 other people having, I don't know, like,
I think, yeah, I feel the same, similar.
Because obviously, also, like, if I'm not getting any, it's not going to make me feel better.
Yeah, and it's so, like, I don't know how people, I guess it's like watching a movie, you, like, pretend that both people are into it and that the woman's not being totally, like, you know, taken advantage of and abused, whatever, but I could never take myself out of that knowing how terrible porn actually is in reality. Like, I told Taylor, like, hey, I would have no problem opening my own porn studio and letting the women just be happy and not be taken advantage of and not be getting horrible diseases all the time because they don't use condoms because they're mean and stupid. You know, like, that would be fine. But, yeah, I don't know how people can take, I mean, I guess I can, you know, whatever, like,
well, because most people, I think a lot of people don't know.
I think they know, and they just don't care.
Because here's the thing is, like,
I'm not really hurting anything.
The like, feminist aspect of it is not something a lot of guys are aware of, because that's something that, like, you know what I mean, that we would have a conversation about. You know what I mean? Because a lot of, you know, women are like, oh, women against the porn industry because it's really, you know, it's really horrible, and most women are abused and on drugs because they just have to be to do that, you know what I mean? But a lot of men are not aware of it because they're not, you know, and I don't want to make an assumption, you know what I mean? Not all men are horrible people, obviously, you know what I mean? There are a lot of men in my life that are great people, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that at all. But I think it's less commonly known among men that the porn industry is really terrible. You know what I mean?
But even if they became aware of it, I think so many people wouldn't really. Well, because I think
unless you see hard evidence of it, it's a hard thing to believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can see that to a degree, because if all you're seeing is these finished products, like, you wouldn't know while watching it that there was, you know, whatever shit was going down behind the scenes, you know what I mean? And so, you know, even if somebody tells you that, it's something that would be hard to believe you know, unless you were really able to, you know, hear firsthand accounts of it or see whatever, you know, and I can see how even if you're told it, it's hard to believe, you know, because everybody's an actress, you know what I mean? Their job is to pretend like they're enjoying it, even if they're not, like.
Well, anyway, keep an eye out for our broadcast porno studios where women make all the decisions.
Right, yeah. God. And just for me, too, even, like, besides that aspect of it, I don't know. Porn just, like, is a weird, uncomfortable thing for me anyway. And not because I'm, like, weirdly shy about it, but just because, like, I wouldn't necessarily be turned on by other people. It's not me, so who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily some, like, you know, I guess it would be one thing if it was somebody you were really attracted to. You know what I mean? But it's like maybe okay, like great. There's these two people where neither of them are me. Like, I don't care. Like, this has nothing to do with me. Like, I guess it could be, you know, oh, that's so hot, whatever, I guess. But it's like, I don't know.
And
like,
also because most of it's directed towards guys, it's going to be like awkward shots of the woman. And like, yeah, women are hot, but it's like, whoa, I don't really need to see that angle of her cooch. Okay, whoa.
Right?
What's
it's
going
like,
on there?
I guess that is a lot of it too. Because it's like, if you're... You know, if you are like me and you are attracted to a dude, you want to see a really hot dude. Like, I don't need to see, like...
And most of the dudes also are, like, subpar compared to the girls. Not that the girls are always amazing, but...
No, but
even then.
Because here's the thing is, everybody is always, like, really conventionally attractive. It's like, oh, kind of fratty looking dude with abs. Like, that's great. But, like, where's the variety? Like,
even then, like, yeah...
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's just weird. And I'll, you know, like I said, like, you know, it's one thing, like, you know, I am 100% cool with, you know, like, whatever, somebody you're in a relationship with, or somebody you're, you know, like, banging, or somebody that, you know, you just, like, do that kind of thing with, like, you know, sending each other pictures, like, that's cool. I'm into that, like, that's cool. I'm down for that, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, because it's like, I don't know, like, there's something about that, there's something about that is much more attractive to me, because you know that it's for you.
This is just like that Craigslist dude that wanted you to send dicks.
Oh my god, absolutely it is. Yeah, because it's like, if somebody's like taking like a, you know, whatever, like a really attractive picture for you, like, you know, they're doing it because they're attracted to you and like whatever. It's not like, you know, it's not two random people just trying to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's dumb. Wow, today is a special edition of the broadcast, apparently.
Extra special, super happy.
Yeah, because it has been like an hour and a half. So I imagine we'll probably sign off. I think we both got shit to do. Happy Sunday, everybody.
I gotta get on that Subway hype.
What?
I gotta get on that Subway hype.
Oh, yeah, you go to Subway. See, now it's annoying because we're like far away again, and I can't be like, hey, get me one, because...
I know.
But
I mean, I could get two and just eat them both.
And then I would be really sad. Because I would have 0 Subway sandwiches. But yeah, so I guess...
like I was gonna vomit.
Oh my god. I guess that's the end of our hour and a half edition of the broadcast this week. So yeah.
Special Halloween edition? Hope Halloween was
Is it?
Cool.
Is it really the Halloween? We said nothing spooky. Except for Donald Trump. That's the scariest part of this Halloween podcast.
He's spooky enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Have a good week and
stay
positive like us.
See you next week. Make good choices, everybody.
Don't be assholes. Yeah, and call your mom.
Call your mom. Tell her you love her. Tell her the broadcast says hey.
Send her our link.
Man.
Get her to subscribe.
Tell your mom to subscribe. Oh god.
Yeah, call your
everybody.
Mom. Tell her to subscribe.
Need to leave now. Bye,
all right, bye everybody.